Hello, a day with Caleb. As promised, we're back with another trips video. This being our Disneyland trip. Got the great movie ride shirt. Rest in peace. Probably not appropriate for Disneyland. I have the Castle Disneyland shirt somewhere, but I figured like red, great movie ride. Shame it is no longer with us, but this is focusing on Disneyland in Anaheim, even though we did also do Disney World we started at Disney World for a week, a couple of days, got our coast to coast pass, then probably a couple weeks later, we flew to Anaheim, the John Wayne International Airport, and SNA, and here's the airport. There's our tickets, plane. I think we do land here in a bit, and we did ride the Disney transportation. You could pay a small fee and ride it. Disneyland Express. I don't think either coast has that anymore. But since we weren't Disneyland guests, we just paid a fee and they dropped us at our hotel, which was about half a mile from Disneyland, give or take. And here's some of, I think there's the Guardians of the Galaxy, Disneyland, and we just went straight for it. Our first day. The first trip, we were there 18 days in a row, every day, going to Disneyland and DCA. Then we did go back probably 5 or 6 months later to do all the layover rides they have there, and to get our money's worth from the Coast to Coast Pass. But let's skip ahead. I think we do get into it a little bit. Well, and they were having Pixar Fest during this time, and right away, if it pauses, you can tell the difference. We grew up at Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom, and our castle is way, way bigger. So right away you could tell the size difference. And Disneyland, since Walt was involved, it felt more intimate with the characters and everything, the vibe. Obviously, Walt Disney passed before Walt Disney World. He was building in the process. Roy, his brother, had to finish. Very first day in the very first park, hadn't even rode an attraction yet, and we meet the Disneyland legend, YouTube legend, Justin Scard. We would meet him later on at Magic Kingdom's 50th, but this was the first time meeting him. We did meet Adam before this at Hollywood Studios. Later on, we would meet Adam many more times, but we met a bunch of YouTubers at Disneyland and DCA. But Justin was the very first one. He still remembers telling us the story of Macon, Georgia. I don't know why that one's upside down. Him and his bandmates, he was in a band. This old lady said they would never be what the Allman Brothers were and threw like a bottle at them. One of the perks of Coast to Coast Pass, back then, they've changed it since, but it was Max Pass. So it was all, you could do digital with Max Pass, or you could do a paper Fast Pass, but it was included with your Coast to Coast Pass. So that is very cool. Obviously not as cool anymore with the lightning lane and all that, but back then you could get a fast pass at no extra charge. Well, it was included with our coast to coast. To get a selfie with Walt and Mickey, and we meet our second group of YouTubers, and that is Magic Journeys. You can see there. Great people, great YouTube channel. I think mostly like review type stuff in the parks, mostly food. But that was cool to see them. And I think, did we meet someone else? Haunted Mansion here. Oh, and the Matterhorn. Such a great ride. Probably my favorite attraction at Disneyland. You'll see my favorite attraction at DCA in a minute, but Indiana Jones, such a great ride. The same track layout as Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom, but this was great. Back when the bamboo and stuff did work, you could pull bamboo and it would like fall a little, make a, like it was falling apart. But such a great ride. And if you did single, they would give you this blue card. But I think they built the queue before the single rider thing was a thing. So you would take your blue card, like cut across the main line, and then you would join the main queue, but then you were supposed to stop while the queue was going at this like elevator spot. Well, actually someone was supposed to be there and see the card you had and take you out of the line, but sometimes they didn't staff that area, so you would just join the main queue and get right on the ride and have a single rider card. We didn't do that often, but if they don't have it staffed, what are you supposed to do, right? Rest in peace, Splash Mountain. But I was going to show you the paper fast passes. There we are. You can see it there. They would print these out. Obviously, this is not my paper fast pass 2016. We went in 2018, but that's just an example of the paper fast passes. Or you could get digital, which we did show, but I think we have one coming up here as well, yes. So that's one. I think this is me here. Screenshotted this. But we were able to secure some fast passes for Splash Mountain. There, Splash Mountain is, how can I say this? Instead of side by side like ours was, it was like 1, 1, 1, 1. So you were lined up straight back instead of 2, 2, 2. And I'll talk about this a little too. This was common in Disney World too. I guess still is common. Haven't gotten one in a while. But if you got one of these red like card things, you were essentially the timekeeper. Think of the attractions with the wait time. How do they accurately do that? Well, these cards, they would scan, you would go through the line, and then right at the end, when you would board, the cast member would take it from you and scan it, and that's how they would get an accurate wait time. Was I tempted to take that as a souvenir? Yes, I was. But, of course, for the greater good of wait times, I did not. So, just a neat thing I thought I would throw in. There he is again, the statue. And of course, I've talked about Walt Disney World statue before, having a special meaning where my parents left me, essentially. But so bummed that it's gone now. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's kind of stacked on top of each other there instead of side by side. And there were ample opportunities to meet lots of characters. We got a fast pass for Haunted Mansion. Oh, and here's the Hatbox Ghost before we added more YouTube people here. Diz Unplugged, not sure if you are familiar with them. This is Rhino and Craig, my two favorite from the channel. And they pretty much essentially talk all things Disneyland, Disney in general, review food, review shows, that type of thing. They occasionally, they're mostly at Disney World, but somehow we timed it right where they were at Disneyland doing stuff there, but mostly they're in Orlando area. This one's kind of sad. Well, it was cool to experience Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Disneyland. We used to have Mr. Toad at Magic Kingdom. Ours was double-sided. This is what I'm talking about. Disneyland characters are more out and about. They don't have the underground tunnel system that was implemented in Walt Disney World. So you'll see characters kind of walking through the land because they don't have an underground system. If you did not know, Magic Kingdom technically on the second floor. There's a whole underground tunnel system. But, you know, this is special because you're not planning on meeting Captain Hook that day, but you see him there and take a picture. And Alice in Wonderland, that was a cool ride too. And some of it's outside, some of it's inside. Kind of history in the making. Well, it's already been made now, but they were in the process of building Star Wars Galaxy's Edge when we were there. So that was cool to experience. You know, before something happens, you're there to kind of witness it firsthand. And they have the Sleeping Beauty Castle where you can go inside the castle, and there's kind of these displays with different scenes from Sleeping Beauty. Pretty cool to experience. Okay, this is Disney's California Adventure, and they had just opened this probably a week or two before we got there in 2018. And I did not know this at the time, but Rhodey, who was the Imagineer mostly known for Animal Kingdom, he opened Pandora, the world of Avatar, that same day they opened Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Or I'm sorry, that's Epcot. Oh, we see it here in a minute. I don't know why I'm blanking. Mission Breakout. Mission Breakout. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Does it say May 27th? So we went, I think, in June maybe? But that would have been cool to go our birthday May 28th. So that would have been cool to see. But, you know, some people think, both of them need to be Tower of Terror, but I actually like this version of the ride. And Stan Lee is in DCA, which is cool. He's in the queue, if you were unfamiliar. And they do a layover of this as well. But, such a cool ride. And the queue, this guy, that's from the Matterhorn. Then you saw the picture there. The Avengers campus was not there back when we went. We'll show you what was there. A Bug's Land was there before Avengers Campus moved in, and we got our picture with Flick. This is like their bumper cars, but I loved A Bug's Land when we were there, but have not visited Avengers Campus yet. Then we get to Cars Land, Radiator Springs. One of my favorite attractions, not my favorite attraction at DCA. Of course, this trip, I'll just go ahead and spoil it. Incredicoaster, my favorite attraction at DCA, but the first trip, it was not built yet, so technically I guess this would have been my favorite ride at DCA, or Mission Breakout, one of the two. But such a great land, Radiator Springs. Such a beautiful atmosphere, and I think we'll see the rockwork. Radiator Springs Racer. This, I think, is the single rider line that we're in. Look at that detail. You don't get that detail anymore. Here's Star-Lord and Gamora meeting the fans. This is right outside Mission Breakout. And of course, could not go over to California without meeting Spider-Man. Of course, on the West Coast, they get to implement Marvel characters. In Orlando, we cannot, we can do certain ones, Guardians, but since Islands of Adventure, which is Universal, technically still owns the theme park rights for Marvel. Before Disney bought Marvel, they worked out some kind of deal. And Disney now owns Simpsons, which is Universal. It's a weird, complicated mess. But anyway, in California, they're able to get Spider-Man. In Orlando, we, of course, cannot. So this was cool. And I think this is... No. I thought that's where we met Loki. But still kind of exploring a bunch of the land. I will say, between the two parks, it is massive. So probably the first week or so, probably the first 5 days at least, we tried to get all the attractions. Did not get all every single attraction in 5 days. Probably took a week or more. We were there 18 days in a row. We did eat at the Crystal Palace, which is right next to Tomorrowland, and it was so neat meeting some characters you don't normally see. Obviously, you see Chip and Dale pretty much anywhere. Tigger, uh, Winnie the Pooh, Chip and Dale again, Captain Hook, who we've seen. Max, that was cool to see. The Fairy Godmother. Rafiki, ER, Minnie Mouse. Keep my Disneyland fix. Obviously, not going there for 8 years, you kind of miss it. So I get construction updates from Fresh Baked, and it's kind of cool to, I guess, live vicariously through the channel. David, if I can point right, this is Ian. He, I think, well, these two left the channel, and it's just David now who runs it with his wife. But it was cool to meet David, a Disneyland YouTuber legend, along with Justin. They both have been doing Disneyland content for a very long time, and that's kind of how I got familiar with Disneyland, watching Fresh Baked, watching Justin, Adam, and I will say that It's a Small World, way more iconic than ours. They have the outside mural that, is it Mary Blair did? For the World's Fair, and then they kind of took her inspiration and did the ride, moved the ride to Disneyland. See, that is so iconic to start outside like that. Just incredible. Ours, when it's not up and scrim, you just kind of go inside and start. This would be so much cooler. And they have the kind of Disney characters integrated too. And this cool building in the background. Just so much cooler than ours. And of course, I've gotten trapped in ours at closing one time. We got stuck. They had to check each boat, and we were kind of 12 back. So when they close, they have to thoroughly check each boat. So anyway, kind of nightmare fuel to be stuck in a ride with the song going over and over and over. Not fun. But if I was stuck outside, that would be pretty neat. This would be every night during the Pixar. Was it Pixar Fest? This was their kind of their Pixar version of the Electric Light Parade, but it was incredible, especially if you got a good spot like we have here. Very cool, and these everything's lit up. So cool. If you type in, I think Pixar Play Parade or something like that. But it was incredible to watch. Didn't watch it every night, obviously 18 days in a row. I think it ended before we left, but such a cool show. And then this is us leaving. We had to leave backstage because it was so crowded. Actually, no. Are we cutting Are we cutting through the entrance? I think, yeah, as the fireworks are going off. So this is why we didn't stay every night, because once the parade was over, the park closed. So you can see here the crowd. I mean, there is no room anywhere to move. uh, Such a crazy thing to think about crowds back then. This is at DCA, this is Midway Mania, Mr. Potato Head. I could just sit there and watch him all day. And there, Mr. Potato Head is outside, not inside the attraction. So you didn't have to go into the queue to enjoy Mr. Potato Head, and he interacts as well. We did. We didn't know this channel, but this is, of course, Best Life and Beyond. And for obvious reasons, glad we did not stop and meet them. They were doing a live stream. Obviously now, since we've met Adam the Woo and Justin Scard, we've become friends, more so maybe with Adam because we see him more, but they have had beef with pretty much everybody, so glad we stayed away. And this was at the, is it Hungry Bear? And they were live streaming the whole time we were there. Just thought it was interesting and thought I could add that in. Max Pass did come with Photo Pass as well, so we'll kind of skim through these, but it was cool to meet Thor and have Photo Pass, get some interesting shots, especially that one. And we did frequent Space Mountain and Mission Breakout quite a lot. Most of these might be just Space Mountain. Got a picture with Lightning McQueen and Mission Breakout. Now we get to the second trip, and you can see all decorated for Halloween. Got the pumpkins. They're decked out for Halloween. And obviously went on Pirates many times, and I love the transition scene. I wish we had something as cool as that. But they have a couple more scenes than Disney World has, including this one here. But I don't know if we show it here, but we ate at the restaurant that's connected to Pirates, and they did the Nightmare Before Christmas layover when we came back, so that was neat to experience. And I did collect popcorn buckets. That started my obsession in Disneyland, and the layover was so cool. I mean, just look at how cool that is, and the bones like that. Let's see, I think, yeah, the gingerbread house, such a cool design. I think I show a couple of them just to give you an idea. I think the spider one, that was our year, but such a cool layover. Probably the best layover that Disneyland has ever done. Merging Nightmare Before Christmas, look how detailed that is. This is on the outside. before you even get in there. And speaking of layovers, not only does Space Mountain have Hyperspace Mountain, which is themed to Star Wars, they have this kind of spookier version as well. Uh, Ghost Galaxy, that's what it is. I could not remember for a second. But that is pretty scary. They have some pretty creepy music that plays, and then you can see him in the tunnel as you launch. Some pretty intense stuff there. Now we get to Pixar Pier, which was being built our first trip, and we get to talk about my favorite ride here in a minute. Incredicoaster. Here it is in all its glory. How cool is that, launching from over the water like that? And you can see here the treats. They did release a magnet too each month that we collected. I think I have a few of them. But all this was rethemed to Pixar. Pixar Pal Around. And another cool thing, you could meet some of the Pixar characters as well. You had Sully, Mr. Incredible, by his ride. Then they had some Coco representation too. Oh, and another layover, Guardians of the Galaxy Monsters After Dark, which was also incredible. Let's see if I have any of the cast members. It's hard to see now, but you can kind of see his jacket there is all kind of ripped up and beat, like he's been chasing monsters, or monsters have been chasing him. Such a cool layover. And that's a thing that Disney World doesn't have, that kind of Disneyland and DCA has. I guess since they're kind of more of a locals park, if you will, they have these layovers, which is incredible. And most of them are very well done. And the rides are down, of course, during the transition period, so you lose some of your rideability, if you will, but so cool. Most of these layovers are amazing. Obviously, not for my camera, but just look at that image. And obviously, if you're unfamiliar with the Incredicoaster, it was a reskin, but you flip over the Pixar ball, you go through these tunnels. I think there's one more flip that you do, but it looks to be all wood, but it's actually wood and metal. It's just made to look like wood. And this launch over the water is incredible. Let's go back so you can see that. You launch, the start is kind of over here. Behind me here, there's a building. You come around, then you launch into the first tunnel. Oh, so good. The second trip, we didn't go 18 days. We went 11 or 12. No, 12 days. And in 12 days, comment down below how many times I rode the Incredicoaster. With the Max Pass, the first day we were in DCA, we rode it 6 times. So in 12 days, did not ride it Well, I wrote it at least once every day. So do the math, sometimes more. But I'll tell you in a minute the number. If it's not on here, I might have put it on here. But so cool. Yeah, these are my pictures here. Look at that. Look at that archway. Characters out and about. Incredicoaster. Here's, I think this is my first picture here. That's awesome. Our first time going on the Incredicoaster. As we admire this great food, I'll give you a second to cast your votes as to how many times I wrote it, and I don't think this might have been my first popcorn bucket. That started it all right there. I want to say that was the first one I got. How could you pass that up? Oogie boogie. Then we got some duck action here, some theme park ducks. Okay, you ready? In 12 days, we might have a compilation at the end of all my rad photos together, but 30 times in 12 days, roughly 2.5 to 3 a day. I'm not good at math. Well, I guess less, yeah, because 12. We didn't go to the park the 12th day. So let's say 10 days to be generous. That's 3 a day average. So did you get 30? Did you guess 30? Or were you way under or way over? Let's just say near the end, after a week or so, every cast member that worked that attraction knew my name and always asked what number I was on because they knew I was trying to get a certain number, and I would tell them I'm on number 12, I'm on 15, I'm on 25. And then the single rider one who was in charge of that, he let me ride it 2 times the last day, kind of snuck. Well, he didn't sneak me in, but nobody was doing the single rider. So he let me go twice to get to 30, which you can do single rider. If nobody's there, you just go to the elevator. This was another one. This isn't a popcorn bucket, but a Thanos glove sipper. How awesome is that? You can actually wear the glove as well. You can put liquid into this and you can see the straw there, but I never did that. I didn't want it sticky, since I am obviously collecting it, but it's cool to have a Thanos gauntlet. So cool looking at these ride photos again and kind of reminiscent, but you can see there it was Mission Breakout, Radiator Springs, and of course Incredicoaster. We get to it here. Yeah. They of course have Fantasmic as well. Ours is in Hollywood Studios and it's kind of in a stadium. Theirs is kind of where the rivers are in Disneyland. So it's kind of stand up, standing room only, which is not very comfortable when you're waiting 30 minutes to an hour before the show and then the show. But pretty cool show. I'm partial to ours, obviously, but very cool spectacle. This, I wish we had this. They have the the ship from Pirates of the Caribbean, the Black Pearl, and that's a very cool moment. They come across and they're fighting him, Captain Jack and Barbossa. Let's see if I get this shot. Yeah, and you got people jumping down on. I think there's like, a, is that Elizabeth jumping down? You got people swinging across. It's very, very cool. That is one thing that our version of Fantasmic does not have, is a cool pirate ship, and of course the coolest ship of them all, the Black Pearl. I did want to touch on this as well. Somehow in Disneyland and DCA, the churro was all over the place there. More, I guess, popular than it is at Disney World. They had different kinds of churros. They had themed churros. Same with the Dole Whip and Dole Whip float and the chimichangas. If you're familiar with Deadpool, uh, those three things I wouldn't get every day, but most every day we would at least get a churro. And they had a full-on cocoa show. We had a little bit of a show at Epcot, but they went all out with this beautiful like puppeteer puppet of Miguel from Coco, and they had a full-on show. It was incredible to watch. You can see there, each picture I did a number. This was 17. I believe that was 7. And then was that 19? And is that 20? I'm not sure. That's 20. Yeah. So I did compile all 30 into a, what do you call it? Like a picture layout. And I thought we would have that here, but I don't think we do. That's 23, 24, 25, 26. And is that Josh dapping? Josh dapping again. Okay. And I rode by myself, I guess. This is 27, maybe? 20, is that 29? Or is that 29? I can't make out every one I did. Me and Bill. Maybe we didn't do a compilation. Oh, is that 30? Okay, let's go back. There's the big 3-0. If you follow my Instagram and go scroll all the way back to 2018, I think I did post it on Instagram. My links are at the end of this video, or go to Instagram, type A Day with Caleb 2, and it should come up there. I think I'm the only A Day with Caleb 2 on Instagram. But I hope you enjoyed this kind of journey to Disneyland and DCA, Disney's California Adventure. Hope you found some interest and entertainment out of it. and maybe it will spur you on to go visit Disneyland and DCA, even though back in 2018 it was kind of perfect, and some of the things they have taken away are now you have to pay Max Pass. You did have to pay, but with the coast to coast, we didn't have to. Some things obviously taken away, but still got the Incredicoaster, uh, and all the layovers. So incredible. So if you haven't gone to Disneyland or DCA, I highly recommend going. And we touched on a little in our last video, Hollywood. Go to Universal Hollywood where they still do filmmaking. But like, subscribe, share with a movie lover, a Disneyland lover. Until next time, go to a theme park near you and enjoy it and keep collecting.